Hey everyone, it's Angie Coley, and today I wanted to talk to you about owning your expertise. So, this is a challenge that I think a lot of people have when they are setting up their businesses, which is, who am I to teach this? Who's going to pay attention to me? How do I know that I know anything? And there's a couple of pieces of head trash that I'd like to help you just kind of 3 point, toss that in the garbage can and get rid of it permanently. So one is this notion that you have to have some sort of credential, you have to have appeared in Forbes. Newsflash, nobody woke up in Forbes. Like, nobody was, just going along in their normal life day to day and then just suddenly woke up the next day and went, oh, hey, crap, Forbes published me. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that has to happen to attain those credentials, right? So by that I mean someone has to have earned the expertise before Forbes decided to publish it. And then they had to actively go out and promote and connect and pitch that article before it wound up in Forbes. So expertise is really learning from the doing. And I think that's where people get things mixed up with the credentials, which, in our modern society largely revolve around studying and taking tests and maybe doing some group projects or writing a thesis. I think when I wrote my thesis for my master's degree, it was like that big. Would I do it again? I don't know. I've gained a lot more experience from the doing than from the studying. Another piece of head trash is that there are trolls out there. There are haters. There are people that are going to be mean and nasty to you. And guess what? Whether you put your opinion out there or not, they're still going to be out there. So I think steeling yourself against those people, realizing that it's nothing personal, they've probably got something going on in their lives and just feel better about themselves somehow when they come out on the offensive and start attacking people. I like to let that brush off my shoulders to the best of my ability. Now, I'm a human being, and that's not always possible, but just remember that it's not personal more often than not. It's just something that they've got going on in their own head, and you've just got to keep going. What else? A third piece, like a mental block that I see with people owning their expertise is people have said this before. Somebody said this before. I don't have anything new to add. And I would argue that you always have something new to add because you are filtering this thing that has been heard 100 times through your unique filter. And there are people who have been through the same experiences or similar experiences to you, but the combination of your experiences and the order that you went through them and the environment that you grew up with, the jobs that you've done in the past, the people that you've had relationships with, give you this wonderful, rich, three-dimensional tapestry, and this beautiful kaleidoscope lens with which you view everything. It took me a long time to learn that because there are some things that come fairly easy to me. Writing is easy to me. It's just a thing that I've always done. There are people out there in the world who staring at the blank page is their worst nightmare. They'd rather cut off an arm than have to write something where, when I fire up the computer in the morning and I've got a blank page, it's like, all right, what are we going to do today? I'm almost giddy. And by the same token, there are people out there that love spreadsheets and organizing and formulas and modeling and statistics and probabilities, and that makes my head spin. If you start talking to me about that because you're passionate about it, I will appreciate your passion, but you will also watch my eyes just completely glaze over. It's something that I'm not good at. It's something that I don't really have an interest in. I'm sure I could be good at it if I wanted to be, but I don't have an interest in it, and I'd rather be in playing in my own little sandbox. I'm good at writing. I want to be better at writing. I want to be better at marketing. I want to be better at sales. I want to be better at coaching people into success. So those are the things that I focus on, and I ignore the other areas that I don't. And the last bit, you kind of heard me talking about it in the few things that I mentioned. Just lost the train of thought. Is not recognizing your expertise for what it is. Many of us who have established an expertise, who have gone through the hard work of putting our thoughts out there, dealing with the haters, learning by doing, all of these things, our skills come easier to us. They're almost like a reflex. I don't really have to think hard to crank out an email unless I'm doing a brand new promotion or something that requires me to sit down and actually think through step by step who I'm talking to, what I want to achieve with all of this, all the different angles that I'm working on. So that comes easy to me, but it's taken a lot of hard work to get to that point where it became easy for me. And it's easy now to undervalue that expertise, because an email that used to take me 2 days to do can take me half an hour. And that matters because something that's easy to you isn't necessarily easy to anyone else or someone else that you're working with and trying to help. So if you're trying to figure out pricing for a client and you're thinking, oh, this only takes me 30 minutes to do, I feel guilty about charging them a day rate. Remember that it took you years to get good enough to be able to do this. It's a skill that you practice, a skill that you hone, a skill that you invested in getting better at. And so, yeah, the idea that you have to be tied to money, you have to tie your money to hours as an expert, it's just never worked with me. Like, I don't think that you should be penalized for working faster and more efficiently because you've been working so hard and so long on increasing your expertise that you're naturally fast and good. Yeah, so head trash. It's killer. It's something that I have dealt with a lot, and I've had a lot of smart people in my life tell me these exact same things. That you don't need the credentials, you need to move out of studying and get into doing. You need to put your work out there, even if you're afraid people will tear it down or nobody's listening. I promise, with 7 billion people in the world, and right now with everybody stuck at home, just, scrolling their news feeds and trying to stay connected, they're reading. They'll find you if you put enough of your work out there. And if you show up fairly consistently, even when you feel like no one's reading or no one's paying attention, that is another subtle reinforcement of your expertise, of your commitment to your path. So just remember, owning your expertise is a process, gaining the expertise is a process, and commitment comes before courage. So well before you feel like you're ready, you're going to have to take action. Don't wait for the courage to come. Just commit and be a person of your word. And if you say that you're going to publish something weekly, publish something weekly. Even if you don't have anything. Last week, I didn't really have anything to write about, so I emailed one of my email lists a bunch of coronavirus-related haikus. And it was actually one of the biggest responses I got, where people were like, oh, I love the fact that someone else out there is feeling like my brain is not working. I'm just going to be creative. So own it. Commit, work hard at it, command the respect that you deserve for having worked hard at it, put yourself out there, and know that your people have your back. And that's what I have for you today. Let's go kick some ass.